So I can hear the umpire there just apologising to the women here sitting on the start for the delay, but it now sounds like they're under starters' orders. So Peterborough on the left and Cambridge, USA on the right. This is the Stonor, the Open Women's Double Sculls race.
Go. Get ready, please.
Just see the Americans pointing towards the island at the moment. They're going to try and pull it round.
A little bit more windy at the start now, I think. A little bit more difficult to get straight. Here we go.
Attention. Go.
Nice clean start, both crews straight down the course. Handled well in that long wait at the start and then the sort of long pause before you get the go. Both crews really excellent, clean start.
Yeah, umpire Fiona Dennis making sure that she gets them underway safely, puts a flag away. Hopefully she won't need it after this pretty straight start from these two double sculls. A bit easier to steer off the start with a double scull because each athlete can control the steering a little bit themselves, one way or the other. In a sweep or boat, it's a bit more challenging. But here we are getting onto the section of the course which is boomed safely, and that's a moment of relief for both crews, although I think the American crew here are coming rather close. They want to watch that and correct pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's the deep breath moment when you are skimming past those wooden booms. And,
I don't think you could get any closer than that, my goodness.
Our heart rate's going anyway. Nothing like adrenaline coursing through your veins at that point, but really well corrected. And the main thing, and that if that happens, and it does happen, we've all experienced it, to be honest, is not to let it affect the way you're sculling, not to affect your rhythm. The risk is you kind of overcompensate with that adrenaline surge, but they've sort of handled it better. This is a really great start from both crews, really tight, both boats.
Yeah, so anybody watching, whatever your level, if you've rowed or if you tried to steer a boat, we've all had moments like that where a tree branch or a rock or something has been rather too close for comfort, and we all inevitably slightly overcompensate. They did just that, but now I think they're sort of stretching out, and the American crew looking to be getting into a rhythm, which is good for them. On the far side, well, Peterborough, they got away quite well and held on to the Americans for the first part of this course. Ellie Cooke at bow, and Harriet Drake-Lee at stroke in that Peterborough crew on the far side. And now they've got to really try to stay in contact. It's pretty critical at this point not to let the other crew get too far out.
Yeah, this is again, we've got some really outstanding crews to watch this afternoon. I'm really enjoying it. But this American crew, they are competing internationally. They're actually in the lightweight double, competing for USA, and they've just come back recently from the Second World Cup in Poznan, where they won gold. So again, I mean, what you see again is this sort of strong wind conditions at the start. It's hard for a lightweight crew to get the speed up quickly when there's a strong headwind behind them. So they sort of battled through that first bit of the race and now have settled. They've got the steering right, they've got the rhythm right, and now they can really do what they do well. It's just that stroke by stroke powering down the course.
This race delayed by 4 or 5 minutes because there was some debris on the course, I'm hearing, and what the stewards always try to do is look down the course and make sure there's absolute focus on safety. They'll clear away. Sometimes there'll be some geese or something going across the course, and they'll try to make sure that they're moved away. In this case, there's some debris. You could hit that and be impeded or damage some equipment. And as we have birds flying overhead and crossing the water in front of us, we've got to make sure everybody is as safe as possible, and that's the reason for the delay here. But it hasn't caused any nerves for either of these two doubles.
Now, again, part of all this, every sort of experienced competitor has been through it before, is this, and again, it's sort of the mental game of how do you sit and start, not let it upset you, just stay the calm. Doesn't matter if it's delayed, doesn't matter if you've now maybe getting colder, maybe getting stiffer sitting the start line. Your opposition's in the same situation, so you just need to make yourself, when the umpire drops a flag, you are ready to go. And again, both crews I thought had an absolutely exceptional start, and what we've seen now is the sort of higher standard of this American crew coming out as we go down the course.
Yeah, many crews will prepare for disruption, won't they? Kind of visualize, well, what happens if something breaks and you have to go back and you have to sit on the start and you don't feel ready? What happens, in a variety of situations, you're suddenly much further down than you thought, and that kind of process is really helpful, particularly in a crew boat. You want to get everybody to try to think in the same way and be able to regroove.
Yeah, and sometimes it's, the what-if game. What if this happens? What would you do? And whose role is to do what different things, and who wants to take charge? And, a lot of the stuff you can do off the water, you can talk through these situations so that hopefully you never use them, they never needed, but if the moment comes, you almost click straight into automatic pilot of, okay, I know what I need to be doing here.
Can you think of a time when you had to do that?
Many times, many times. life isn't smooth, is it? It's not an easy straight line for anyone. But yeah, I think the great thing is not to, you know, it's the classic. It's not to panic. It's to think you've got this, and you're gonna make the best of this better than anyone else in the course alongside you. So again, I mean, I think these are both boats. Obviously, different standards we're seeing. We're seeing an international crew, you know, against a club crew again, but very good sculling from all 4 women on the course here. The blade work, the timing, everything's actually very similar between 2 boats. So then you start saying, well, why is one boat so far ahead? And again, this is just, you know, the level of training that these 2 American women will have done, the experience they've had internationally. You know, they've been in situation after situation. They've sat and they've won titles together, and they'll just have a, you know, slightly more work under the water. They'll just a slightly more relaxed rhythm, and just that efficient sculling that means you just can eat up a course like this.
Yeah, lovely close-up shot. You can see both of them have got those stroke coach kind of computers in front of them. They can check the boat speed, they can check the rate that they're at, and they'll have, well, trained with a lot of data. And I suppose some of the differences there, yeah, you'll have the raw power, you can measure that on an ergo. You'll have the experience of rowing together. You'll have the time in the boat, the combination together. You'll have the mental approach together as well, and that is one of the things that makes the difference. But it also is one of the great things I think about being at Henley. You can race alongside champions and realise that they're also people, and they might be human, and maybe one day you could be one of them. And if you're watching this anywhere around the world, maybe this could be you one day. Let's hope so. We've had many people want to come to Henley and compete, having seen our pictures here for the last 7 years at Henley Royal Regatta. It is the best place to race, it is the best place to row, and you can come and test yourself as these 2 young women, Ellie Cooke and Harriet Drake-Lee, are against the American double here. They were World Cup gold medal winners at Poznan, 5th in the Tokyo Olympics, so that's a pretty good benchmark against which to measure yourself.
Yeah, and it's a great thing. You know, I think wonderful thing about in this sort of regatta, we've people who have never been here before, who might be in their first year of rowing, and it is this sort of, you know, almost how far can you go down throughout the regatta, or how close can you get to some of the big names in your category. And it's you know, there's kind of the age-old thing of how long does it take to be that good, how long does it take to be up with the best, and actually every athlete will be different. Every athlete might have come from, you know, other sports or different experiences, might find the move into rowing or sculling quicker than others. But it's, you know, I think the wonderful thing is to be able to see how this is done. I mean, again, this American double, they've got this wonderful, a bit like we saw with some of the other top crews we've seen this afternoon. They've got this lovely patience around the back turn. There's no rush to get back up the slide. They just let the boat run out. They've got a beautiful bit of time and come forward. And that, you know, some people have a very natural rhythm, a very natural ratio that comes with it. And otherwise you can train that in over time. But the best thing clubs can do is, you know, watch some of the best people in the world that are right in front of us now, and just, you know, how can we just have that bit more time, how can we have a bit more ratio, how can we have that rhythm that sets them apart.
You can watch every race live throughout this week. We've got 2 more days of Henley Regatta to go to reach the finals days on Sunday, but every race we've had since 2015 is available on demand. So pick your boat category, pick the people you want to be like, and watch and learn. And we know that many crews do. The New Zealand men's 8 that won gold in the Tokyo Olympics told us that they watched some of the Henley videos here, including learning from schoolboy 8s, the St Paul's School 8, which legendary broke the school men's weight 8's record by so much a few years ago. So we can learn from anyone and everyone, and I think that's one of the most important things. To be a champion, you've got to be open to learning from anyone, and you've got to be open to trying things, haven't you? And that's one of the challenging things to look at, that margin.
No, absolutely right. I think, you know, the best people I've ever, you know, talked to, competed with, spent time with, who are champions, never think they've got it right. You know, are always, where can I get better? Where can I find more improvement? And as you say, it's, you know, it's not always the top people you learn from. You can learn as much from some of the school crews or the club crews, and that's what you know, that open-mindedness is really exciting.
Well, class double sculling here as they approach the finish line now, but also the Peterborough crew will have learned a lot from this experience too. These 2 are the Peterborough scullers are on a gap here, focusing on their rowing with ex-Paralympic gold medalist coach Oliver James, who cops the winning 4 at the Rio Games, so really benefiting from that experience in just the way you say. But here we go. It's the US crew crossing the line first, putting themselves through to tomorrow at Henley. Little glance over to make sure that we're in the right place. But Cambridge Boat Club, USA, winners of Poznan, gold medalists there, and 5th in the Tokyo Olympics. And now we have Peterborough what an effort from them, and what an experience for these two young athletes trying to make their way in the sport of rowing, crossing the line, acknowledged in the Stonor. So the US beating the Peterborough City Rowing Club crew.